Good afternoon, everybody. Matt M. Roy back once again. Not sure how many people are going to make it here today. I know it's kind of an awkward time, but I was really, really bored and I wanted to get another live stream out because I'm promising you guys I'm going to try to do at least one a day. And I haven't been semi-faithful there with you guys, but let me see if I can share this link few more places. Maybe we'll get a few more people to come. Right now I'm using my Dell XPS 8700, which I actually haven't used this computer in quite a while. We got two people here so far. Let me share this up on Twitter. Put a tweet out. Man, everything got logged out for some reason. That's weird. So we're going to talk a little bit about some technology-related news, and then we'll go on and answer some questions if anybody has any. Let's see if I can pull this up real quick while we're waiting. So Windows 11 is going to be getting an update here, and it looks like it's going to be the second half of this year. So probably going to be sometime around September, October. Generally, they try to do a big build update every 6 months or so. But I think they're a few months out on that right now. Most of you know my thoughts on Windows 11. But I'm not a huge fan. I've worked with it a little bit. I technically do not have, believe it or not, I technically do not have a computer that is quote unquote Windows 11 compatible because the Windows 11, you have to have this 7th gen Intel i series processor, or you have to have, I think it's a Ryzen 5. Let me look that up real quick. Actually, you have to have, wow, you actually have to have a Ryzen 9 for Windows 11. So I actually have a hack to get around that. So I was able to work with Windows 11 a little bit. And I have to say, for the most part, it's a pretty streamlined operating system. They've taken a lot of what was in Windows 10 and just kind of condensed it a little bit. Like, I've always find it's really weird that they now have the taskbar kind of towards the middle of the screen. I just don't find it's worth upgrading. One, because most of my client systems won't run it, and two, there isn't that much of a difference between the two operating systems. Hey George, how you doing? Sorry, I didn't see you there. So got one like and one person so far. I might try to do another one later tonight if I'm up to it. You guys got to remember I'm still recovering from that surgery, so I got to be extra careful as to how much I exert myself. Although I guess just technically sitting here, I'm not really doing a heck of a lot. Hey George, how's the sound level, by the way? Am I coming through loud and clear? No clipping or anything like that? Try to move this speaker a little bit closer to me. Maybe do some dusting too. I'll tell you, folks, dusting has never been one of my priorities, and it builds up, especially when you have a room full of computers. Get a lot of dust. Oh, where is that? Should have been more prepared today, but anyway, no clipping, loud and clear. That's good. I like to hear that. Has anybody been shopping actively for graphics cards recently? The prices have skyrocketed, and that's if you can even find them. Now that's everything with inflation the way it is right now. Um, Aldi, believe it or not, just I just found out Aldi is going to raise their prices by 30%. So if you are out there and you shop at Aldi, and I'm including this in here because our Aldi at least does do some tech, sell tech. You're going to be spending about 30% more on your items. And so it's not just grocery items, it's pretty much daily living items. So everything from, your bread, your milk, your vegetables, your special buys and things like that. And a lot of this is stemming from the fact that they just can't get people to work. There's actually a shortage out there, and that's really hitting the tech industry too. I will tell you right now, I used to be able to pick up SSDs for a song and a dance, but now the prices are actually going up pretty substantially. Let me look up the ADATA SSD. Let's see. They actually have it on sale this week. This is the 240 gig model directly from ADATA. And is this the one? Yes. And I used to be able to get this for about $24 on sale. Now it's $29.99 on sale. And you may say to yourself, well, that's $5. What's $5? Well, when you're buying product in bulk for refurbishing computers, $5 can be a pretty big hit to your profit margin. So just an FYI, if you find a good deal out there right now on computer tech, SSDs, what have you, snap it up because I can guarantee you prices are going to be rising here very shortly. RAM is even worse. DDR4 memory is up substantially. Pull this up real quick. Give you an example. XPG Spectrix. This is for a 32 gig kit. Is this 32 gigs? Yeah. This I used to see all day long for around $100. And again, this XPG is an okay brand. I mean, it's nothing super great. But now it cost you $140, which, to be perfectly honest, still isn't that bad. But I mean, do the math. That's at least that's about a 25% price hike. And a lot of this, again, people just don't want to work right now. People out there are staying at home. They're collecting that unemployment check. They got a taste of that freedom during this entire unpleasantness that we've had over the past couple of years, and they just don't really want to go back to work. And not to get too much into politics, but I think our government is actually helping to promote that. Mm-hmm. So I see we got two people here right now. Anybody got any questions, George? I'm thinking you're probably still here, buddy. You want to ask me anything? Any tech related questions? Mouth is so dry today. If anybody's interested in getting really good priced Office keys, we're talking about like Microsoft Office keys. I'm going to go ahead and share this with everybody. If I can find it again. Where is it? Where is it? It's a website called eCrater, and this guy does a really good job. I don't know why I can't find it on here. I hope I didn't delete this link. I try to keep everything in here as much as I can, but let's see, Da Vinci. Here we go. I got it. It was hiding on me. So this is a site called eCrater, and if you're interested, click on that link, and you can actually get Microsoft Office, and these are legit product keys for $4.50 each. And this gives you an account with 5 terabytes of cloud storage, not sponsored. None of this is sponsored by them or anything. For up to 5 PCs or Macs. And what does it say? Excludes upgrades and new. Okay, exclusive upgrades and new features. So you can actually update as well. George Blakely asks, what kind of video cards do you install to the laptops you sell? Well, I don't actually upgrade the video cards in the laptops. That would be kind of tricky. Most laptops, the video board is soldered to the motherboard. But for desktops, right now I still have a surplus of those AMD Radeon FirePro W5100 cards. So that's what I use for desktops. Adrian Smith asks, can you still upgrade to Windows 10 for free? Yes, you can. Believe it or not, Microsoft never did away with that. I don't know why people think I know why people think they did, because it was supposed to be for a limited time. But if you have a Windows 7, a Windows 8, or a Windows 8.1 product key, you can enter that in and activate Windows 10. And most of the time, that's what I do when I refurbish these computers. Luke Davis, hey man, how's your day been? Mine's not so great. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Mine's been going pretty well. I'm still in recovery mode right now after that big surgery, so kind of bored. Can't do too much, physical activity right now. So I thought I'd go ahead and just do a tech live stream for everybody. And of course, CCleaner wants to do its thing when I'm trying to work here. But questions, comments, queries. And once again, this is going to be my main source of income for a while, because again, when I'm recovering, I can't physically do a lot of the work that I did before. So super chats are not expected, but they are appreciated if you can. And I'm not going to sit here and beg for money. That's not my style. But again, every little bit helps. Luke Davis goes, I've had to do the inevitable tech purge in my collection, but it may have to be the only way to repair the things I care about. It's a good point. When you're into any kind of tech, I'm not just talking about computers, I'm talking about people that collect, I don't know, the old school CRT TVs or old radios like I used to collect. You have to sacrifice the less important items for the more important items. So basically, you sell off that stuff, make some money, and then you have the money to put into the items that you really do care about. Mm. All right, so we got 4 people here right now. That's good. Try to pull up some more news here. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I don't know if I can find it though. Give me a minute. I will be right back. All right, folks. So I showed these before on one of my previous live streams, but I wanted to show this one more time because people that are working from home now, they're always asking Matt. They're always asking me, Matt, what webcam would you recommend? Something inexpensive that does a really good job. Well, I actually purchased these in bulk on eBay about a month ago, and I've had very good success with it. And these are the TechNet webcams. This particular one is model TK-CA001. Now, these right here sell for about $22 a piece on eBay right now. And I was able to get them in bulk. I think I wound up paying about $10 a piece. If you're lucky, you can find these in a lot sale. I'm not even sure if they're making this particular model anymore. But I really like this because, and you can go back to my review video of this, but this has full 1080p resolution. And if you look here, this is actually a light. This actually has like a fluorescent LED light which projects on your face. And I would say not audio quality. Audio quality is fair on this, but video quality rivals my Logitech C922 there. Luke Davis, for example, I've been purging uninteresting netbooks and XP machines to raise enough funds for my Fujitsu Siemens Scenic ED desktop as it needs a new motherboard. Exactly. I mean, you have to do that. The only way that you can make money sometimes is, other than making YouTube videos like this, is to sell off things you're not using. Okay, so I don't even remember when I told you guys this, but one time, probably about a year ago, I said that I was going to unbox this new old stock Rio Sport MP3 player, and I still plan on doing that. But I need to get to let's see, what would I have to get to today on this live stream to get this to be unboxed. And I'll probably do this in a separate video just because it'll be easier and I won't have to try to answer questions at the same time. But this is something that's going to be coming up for sure. I still have it in box. And who knows, if I feel up to it, I may unbox this live for you guys during the stream if we get enough people. If not, I'll save it for another time. But I picked this up at the thrift store about a year ago. And this is a Rio Sport model S30S with, you got that, 64 megabytes of built-in memory. Can you imagine that? That's probably enough to put on maybe 12 songs. And I don't know if this even has a way to upgrade it or not. Yeah, upgradable to 576 megabytes using an SD or an MMC card. So you can actually upgrade it in this. Yeah, sorry, folks. You got to see my gum there. Yeah, may fit about an album. OZLO. Bobby Warren says, "Hey Matt, hey Bobby, how you doing today?" It's funny. I'm just looking at Facebook. Charlie Sheen wrote this out. He goes, "What food were you forced to eat as a kid that you will never eat again?" I think for me, not necessarily a food, more of a drink, and that's wine. When I was young, I was forced to drink red wine, and ever since I have no taste for it anymore. 10-hour compilation of microwave noises. Well, that might keep you asleep for a while. Bobby Warren, I'm thinking about getting a new cell phone. Well, if you're looking at getting a new cell phone and I don't have it up here with me, I think I probably have my box. The one that I've had good luck with is the Samsung Galaxy A52 5G, which is the one that replaced my very well-loved Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus, which honestly, After I replaced it, I realized that the phone was working again. So I may switch back once in a while so I don't wear one out. But you can get it depends on who your provider is, but you can get the 52 5G out the door for about $350 if you pay cash. If not, you can do their installment plan. If you ever run across an old SanDisk Sans MP3 player, it's worth getting. They can be modified to run Rockbox on them. I have heard about that before. I may even have I think I do have an old Sansa player somewhere. I know over there I have an old Sony MP3 player that I use quite often. iPhone 11. Oh, you're one of those iPhone people. Not me. I had one. Years ago. I had the iPhone 3GS was the last iPhone I ever owned, and probably will be the last iPhone I ever own. I'm not crazy about the interface, and I don't like the restrictions that they give you. You know, you can't modify iOS like you can Android. Never used an iPhone since the 4. The 4 seemed to be the one that lasted the longest. I'll tell you, I know people that had iPhone 4s for 5, 6, 8 years, and they loved them. Now, of course, it's pretty much antiquated technology. Make sure I didn't miss anybody here. Went from an iPhone 4 to an 11 Pro Max. Wow. That's a leap in technology for sure. And I'm not even up on all my iPhones, to be honest with you. I know the iPhone 13. Wow, the iPhone 13 Pro Max has an insane camera setup. Look at triple cameras. Looks like with a flash and maybe a dedicated CMOS sensor. But I tell you, my Samsung Galaxy A52 5G has a similar setup with the 32 megapixel rear camera. Do you still have Verizon Fios? Yes. As a matter of fact, we had to get a new router a few weeks ago because the caller ID stopped working, and that was a whole rigmarole. I had to reset up my entire network in my room. I had to rewire the switches. I had to move things around. It was a total disaster. It took me hours and hours and hours. Yep, still have Fios TV. Don't really watch it that much. I'm more of a YouTube person, or I'll watch Netflix or something like that. Well, Luke Davis, well, computerized, I went from a shuttle to an iMac to an eMac. So we went from an iMac to an educational Mac to a MacBook Pro, and then the Lenovo ThinkPad. Ooh, out of all those, I'd probably take the eMac. I used to have an eMac and I loved it. The flat screen CRT on an eMac, one of the sharpest pictures you'll ever get. And of course, eMacs are G4s now, and you really can't do too much with them. Although you can download, I believe they still have a current build of 10 for Fox, but for G4s. And that'll allow you to, surf the internet somewhat. But, if you wanted to watch a YouTube video or something, an eMac wouldn't be able to really do that anymore. It's just not powerful enough, the hardware. Aaron Grashel just bought an iPhone 13 Pro Max yesterday and loves it. I'm sure everybody I know that owns iPhones love them. I just prefer my Androids. Was that EMAC works? Shuttle is an Athlon XP. Wow, that's going back a ways. Think about it, has practically fallen to pieces. The iMac unfortunately suffered a PAV board failure. Very common with those iMacs, especially if it was a G4 or a G5. I remember the G5 iMacs. Man, that PAV board would fail if you just looked at it wrong. Bobby Warren, I'm thinking about buying myself a Samsung A53 or an iPhone 13 Pro Max. I need to ask my sales rep, Leo. I'm not a cell phone expert by any stretch of the imagination, but those are both solid phones. My A52 is I use it all day long to play games when I'm bored or to conduct business, and it's not what you would call a flagship phone, but it is a very solidly built, very capable device for the price. Can hear people working downstairs. That's the problem when you don't live alone. iMac was an orange DVSE G3, but I will definitely look into perhaps recapping and fan modding it. Grateful the flyback is still intact for now. I like the idea that they were fanless, and honestly, they really didn't get too hot until they started getting up into the like 600 megahertz range, and then you started having some issues with heat. But like when we're talking about the 433 G3s, like maybe it's even the original ones, like that ran at I think what 233, 266. Those were fine without a fan, but especially when you got into the higher ranges. Like think about this: the EMAC had a fan. Believe the iMac G3 was the only one that was totally fanless, and the EMAC, I should say, I think started at 733 megahertz for the G4, but the G4s did tend to run a little bit hotter than the G3s, and of course the G5s were heat machines. I think some of those would rival the Pentium 4s actually. Yeah, anything over 500 megahertz in the G3 line was very, very sketchy without a fan. I don't remember the tray loading one using a cooling fan. I could be wrong. It's been a long time. Yes, I do have unlimited data on my phone plan. I use AT&T. I should probably think about switching to something like Straight Talk or Track Phone. But with AT&T so long, just one of those things. Why change it? Why fix it if it's not broken? Hmm. By the way, really, really good 0 calorie drink here, Zevia. I get this, and this one's the grape. I also get the ginger beer. 0 calories, zero sugar. It's just really good drink. Something that gives you a little bit of a flavor without all the extra calories. I always find AMD processors to run cooler than a Pentium 4. For example, 43 Celsius on a Phenom Quad or a Sempron 3200 Plus. Boy, isn't that saying something, because AMD processors do not run cool, but Pentium 4s were that hot. I had a 3 well, I should say the first computer build that I did, the first modern computer build that I did was a P4 3.4 gigahertz. And at the time, that was one of the fastest P4s you could get. And I remember in the wintertime, now you got to remember, my room is 20 by 20. In the wintertime, I could heat my room with that computer. That's how much heat that processor created. Yep, they were. I totally agree with you. Oslo said it right there. They were room heaters, the Pentium 4s, and they weren't all that good either. I mean, you compare an old Pentium 4, like a 3.4 or 3.2 gigahertz hyperthread Pentium 4, which had the two logical cores, to something like even a Core Duo of the day. The Core Duo would blow it away in performance and would have far less heat. Luke Davis, my poor Packard Bell nuked its cap because it got so warm inside. It's pretty sure it's why the small form factor Optiplex GX280 PSU died. And you also got to remember, you're around that time of the capacitor plague too. And we've talked a little bit about this on the channel as well. Capacitors for many years were certain brands because they stole the recipe for one company stole the recipe for capacitors and tried to make it on their own, but they missed out on one key ingredient. And that's what happened. It was the stabilizer. So after a while, these caps would just start to balloon and pop. Glad you reminded me about my Pentium 4. I hadn't even thought about that computer in a long time. Abdullah Mala Atman. Hello from Germany. Guten Tag. That's about the only thing I know in German, honestly. Spectrum TV and Internet and Verizon Wireless cell phone. Yeah, too good. They're pretty good. How's it going? Not too bad. Still in recovery mode right now. Most of you probably know that have been with me for a while. I had my skin removal surgery, so those scars are going to be there for a while, and it's still kind of healing up. Yeah. What would happen back in the day with the caps, and this is for Luke Davis, he's talking about the cap venting. Sometimes they would just vent. So they would mushroom up. You would actually see the cap mushroom up on top. And then you'd see a little bit of seepage, and that would be the electrolyte. That would happen sometimes. But sometimes these caps would literally just explode. And I'm talking about the tops would just pop. And you would see the electrolytes leak all over the board. That was less common, but it would happen. And luckily, we don't see that anymore. Oslo. Pentium 3s were more energy efficient. Intel went back and used the P3 architecture as their base when developing multi-core. So yes, the I series 3, 5, 7, and i9s. That's correct. They were based on the Pentium 3 architecture. And I can't remember. Let me look this up real quick. That's right. Pentium 4 used net burst technology, and I'd have to again. It's been a long time. Let me look it up on Wikipedia. Well, hyperthreading was developed during NetBurst, but they actually went and they moved that. They actually moved that technology on when they started developing the Core 2 line and even the I series. So that's something that actually came from the Pentium 4 line. Then they had things like hyper pipeline technology. Significantly increase the number of stages compared. Yeah, this was that pipeline technology. It was supposed to give you more stages. In other words, you think of it like a highway where you have more lanes. So you had more lanes, you had more traffic that you could push through the processor. But the problem was they made the pipeline longer, so it took more time for the data to go through, and that made for a very sluggish processor. Abdullah, what does it say? Abdullah Mala Atman, you think AMD can come back? Oh, I think so. I think they're on their way back now, to be honest with you. I don't think they ever really left, but yeah, I mean, there's been an ongoing rivalry between Intel and AMD, and I don't know. I think they're pretty much neck and neck right now. I'm using RTX 2080 Ti. So far, so good. Not to mention, I can stream and play in 1080p. That's great. I know a lot of people that are still trying to do 4K, and I'm like, no, I definitely don't need 4K, honestly. And I don't even remember what I really need to upgrade the video card in here because I don't even remember what's in here, to be honest with you. Let me pull up Device Manager. Tell you that my main system could really use a fresh install of Windows. So I'm running a Radeon R7 360 in this computer right now, and yes, that is a pretty old card. Might even be better off putting one of those AMD Fire Pro W5100 cards in here. Let me know what you guys think about that. I might consider doing that. Might have to end this in a few minutes. Got to go downstairs and make my lunch. I haven't had anything since breakfast. Cincinnati, Ohio. Man, been around, but I've never actually been to Ohio before. All right, folks, I think I'm going to end the live stream here. I think we had some fun. We didn't have a super amount of people come, but you know what? That's okay. I'm going to try to do another one of these tomorrow, maybe even later on tonight. I'll just have to see how I feel. So thank you for coming. Please continue to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.